Ben Vitale,
Present.
Mark Farrell,
Here.
Paul Pixie. Aileen McNabb Coleman is excused. Joseph DeForest,
Here.
Terry Baxter,
Aye.
Joseph Bennett,
Here.
Frank Reginelli,
Here.
Patrick Mahonic,
Here.
Timothy Lattimore,
Here.
Michael Didio,
Here.
Ryan Foley,
Present.
Keith Batman.
Present. If we could rise for the pledge in a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a proclamation for the Sheriff's Week. Sheriff, if you join me. So this is a proclamation declaring September 18th through the 24th as Sheriff's Week in Cayuga County. And I just wanted to read it. As usual, I'll skip the whereases, but I think the content is something for us to all be aware of and remember. Whereas the Office of Sheriff has been an integral part of the criminal justice system in New York State and in Cayuga County throughout our history, having been established in the state's first constitution in 1777, and having been continued in every succeeding constitution, and having been one of the original constitutional offices of our county. Despite changes in its function, status, and powers during its long history, the Office of Sheriff has maintained a continuous existence, preserved its distinguishing heritage, and continued to be an essential component of our criminal justice community. The Office of Sheriffs have evolved into a modern, professional, full-service law enforcement agency manned by fully trained police officers, using state-of-the-art technology and applying the latest and most advanced theories and practices in the criminal justice field. As first responders to crime, accidents, and natural disasters, it is important to acknowledge the sacrifice that each of these officers make and to honor the families that love and support them. The Office of Sheriff is unique in the community, and the duties of the office go far beyond the traditional role of keeper of the peace and extend into many facets of public service, including maintaining the county jail, providing security in our courts and county office building, protecting our numerous waterways, and serving and executing civil process for our courts. As a constitutionally empowered entity directly responsible to the people, the ancient Office of Sheriff remains even today responsive and accountable to the public it serves, and is the front line preserving the freedoms guaranteed in our Constitution. It is fitting to celebrate the historical contributions of the office and the significant role which the sheriff plays in our modern criminal justice system. Now, therefore, resolved that I, Keith Batman, and members of the legislature hereby proclaim September 28th through 24th as Sheriff's Week in Cayuga County.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, legislators, all our department heads, and certainly invited guests. I'm not going to go on. I could talk forever about this department because I believe it is the best in the state. Not only our road patrol, our jail, our county office building, courthouse, navigation. You know, again, I get emotional when I talk about these guys and these ladies because they are the best and they work hard. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Now, public to be heard. Mr. Vitale?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Don Delastrillo would like to address the legislature. I think he's a resident of Senate, and so I'm helping Aileen out here today.
Don?
Hello, good evening, everybody. Lived in Auburn all my life, and this is the first time in front of the county legislator. And I got a C- in public speaking, so if you want to bear with me on that one, I'm going to try to get through this. I've been a member of the Great Race Committee since it began at Emerson Park in Deauville Island in 1978. Excuse me. My good friend Marty Keogh and I have been on that committee forever, and Marty Keogh has informed me that I cannot wear a Great Race shirt here tonight because I do not represent the Great Race, which is fine with me. Okay, he's saying that in jest. So I went through my closet and I found this shirt that says, "Wild Wings Over Water." My topic of conversation tonight is wild wings over Owasco Lake in Emerson Park. Emerson Park is a God-sent gift, and a gift that was deeded to Cayuga County by the Emerson family. Unfortunately, God has also sent in the birds, who have left the area littered with feathers, feces, parasites, and other bird wastes. The past 2 years, when I've been setting up for the Great Race at Deauville Island, you could not put a beach towel on the grass at Deauville Island without it being on top of feces, feathers, or something like that. That was 2 years ago. This year, a little bit better, but you'd still be hard-pressed to put that beach towel down without it being covered with feces. In fact, we set up a tent at the finish line, or on the beach, and the girls had to get a rake to get all the feces out from under the tent so that they could work there during the race. All right. The past year, myself and a number of Great Race volunteers contracted a rash on their legs. Okay, I still have the rash on my legs, and it was knee-high, and that's because myself, as a committee member, is in charge of the finish line at the Great Race, and we stand in knee-high water, probably about where the lifeguard stand is down on Deauville Island. And we stand out there for an hour to 3 hours collecting basically little cards like this. Actually, these are leftover cards from the race. And we collect these cards and hand them out to all our competitors and stuff. That's how we get our results. This year, we all have a bunch of pimples on our legs. I've talked to a healthcare person. Can't mention any names because the results are not in yet. But when I described what I had, this person described it as duck itch. All right. Now, we can all Google it, and you guys can Google it because, let's face it, my flip phone doesn't Google. All right. Thank you.
I have one of those too.
Thank you. And I'm trying to keep humor in this as much as I can, okay? You could Google it and find out what duck itch is, but my understanding from talking to this person is it is a parasite that is in waterfowl feces. And when the waterfowl poop in the lake, the parasite becomes more prevalent or breeds or whatever it does and decides to latch on to people and obviously bite them and whatnot. The test results are not back in yet, so I really am just going out on a limb saying it's duck itch, but we've got to call it something. Okay? Let's see here. Basically, folks, it's time for the birds to go. They've taken over Emerson Park. They've taken over Deauville Island. They've got to go. They're a hazard to our health. They're obviously a hazard to my health. All right? Luckily, I didn't get as bad of a rash as anybody else did. And fortunately, as someone said, good thing the water was low because we'd all have crack itch. And good thing I didn't have any young kids out there because they would have been covered with the parasites as well. For us adults, being below our knees, it's not really a problem. All right? So, I'm not here to just give you guys a problem. I'm here to give you a solution. Let the dogs out. Let the people of Cayuga County encourage the people of Cayuga County to bring their dogs to Emerson Park to chase the birds away. Encourage, they're going to use the park. We got to use the park for something. We can't swim in it anymore. We can't use it for anything else anymore. We can't put a blanket out there. I was at a wedding. I couldn't go out to the beach that night of the wedding because my girlfriend didn't want to get her high heels all full of shit and go back into the pavilion. All right, so let's let the dogs out. All kinds of dogs out there. I've got a border collie. He's a little slow, but, you know, he'd go out there and chase them. I'd love to see some people go out there with their duck birds and our duck dogs, chase them out of there. In my conversations with Gary Duckett and Michelle Lincoln yesterday, Gary has a permit to hunt at Emerson Park. Didn't even know that one existed. I think his permit is special enough that I think he can hunt geese while they're on the ground or on the water. All right? What about getting a veterans organization out there and having a Wounded Warriors veteran duck blind on Emerson Park? Maybe Bass Pro would give us some kind of a deal on getting some kind of a tent, and we'd have maybe a spot for our veterans to go out there who otherwise wouldn't be able to get into a duck blind, go out at Emerson Park and sit and shoot ducks or scare them away. The geese are involved in this too, but I'm using ducks as the main one. What about a junior hunting program? Grandfather, grandson, grandmother, father, parent, get your 16-year-old, 12-year-old kid out there, whatever the hunting age is, you know, rent the duck blind, use the duck blind, teach them how to hunt. Finally, folks, if I haven't convinced everybody of this, if you took your 5-year-old child or your 5-year-old grandchild to Owasco Lake and Deauville Island, you know, you could probably get arrested for endangering the welfare of a child at Emerson Park. Sad, sad, sad point. We need to act now on this park issue because now, let's face it, we're already too late. Good luck. I hope you can do something about it. I'm going to meet, Gary's invited me to meet with the Parks Commission tomorrow. I'm going to run my spiel by them. And I have an ironic twist to this evening. I've been invited to go out on a boat on Owasco Lake tonight. So I'm going to get rid of my duckage in the middle of Owasco Lake. Thank you very much, and I hope we as a community can do something about our lake. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any other public to be heard?
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Lattimore?
can I just follow up with Donnie's comment? I know we have a master plan, Steve, in regards to some of the improvements to the Emerson Park, but I'd like to see sooner than later outside showers so that people who, in this interim, while we're getting rid of some of the animals that are creating this problem, they have an outside shower so as soon as they come out of the lake, they can rinse off so that they don't have the parasite on them. I'd like to see that sooner than later. I know we're having a master plan done by the Emerson Foundation. Hopefully that's part of it.
Thank you. Are there any other? Okay, very good. Then the minutes. Could I have a motion to dispense with the reading?
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Dr. Duran.
Thank you, Chairman. First, I'd like to recognize trustee with me today, John Klink. Just a couple of comments. I know I didn't have a written report this month, but we're obviously in the process of gearing back up again for sort of our fall semester. It starts on Monday. Still time to register and enroll, and we encourage you to do so. A lot of efforts really been focused in the summer on facilities and trying to renovate some facilities and improve. One of the notable projects I think to mention, our FSA, our Faculty Student Association, has invested in renovating the Nature Center on campus and actually turning it into a new child care center. I know that some of our trustees were able to take a tour of it earlier this month, and what that allows us to do is not only to renovate a space, but it's allowing us to expand our service for students and for staff in the community to be able to serve now infants that are 6 weeks old up through basically kindergarten. Prior to this expansion of services, we've been kind of held to really only bringing in, I think, 3-year-olds into our program. So we've been spending a great deal of time on trying to figure out ways to reduce barriers for our students and to offer other services, and this is one way we've been able to do it. So we feel really thankful and fortunate to be able to offer that, offer those child care services in an expanded way for this fall. Enrollment-wise, we continue to be on target for our budget for this year. It's really, we're at kind of this time where we won't fully know where we land until after after really we begin, but we continue to be kind of on pace with where we expected, and we hope next month, when we're able to give a more thorough update, we'll be able to say that. So, I mean, ultimately, you know, one of the items you have in front of you tonight for consideration is consider approving the collective bargaining agreement between our Board of Trustees at the college and the Faculty Association. I think what's notable about that is it's the first time, I guess, in about 30 years, as I'm told, that there's a chance, pending your approval, that there will be an agreement in place prior to, you know, one expires. So I think, you know, the board, the faculty leadership, we engaged in a facilitated process that really brought everyone to the table, and I thought ultimately resulted in, you know, an agreement that obviously our board and their association supports. So I certainly ask for your support tonight, and I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Question?
Thank you. Mr. Lattimore?
Cornell Cooperative Extension has 7 acres that they're selling or advertising to sell. Have you looked into your expansion plan to see whether or not that fits in your back door?
You know, we haven't looked. We have not looked specifically at that land. Recently, I've tried to gather kind of a plot map of all of them to see what's kind of contiguous to the college property or not. And but we haven't had the opportunity in the last several weeks since we've done that to kind of sit down and take a look at what connects or doesn't connect. But certainly, you know, if it's available and something to take a look at, we certainly would, and how it fits into our plan or not. But right now, our primary focus, facility-wise, on campus is continuing to look at the opportunities related to athletic fields, and we have a number of spaces on campus that we think we can repurpose to better support academic and student affairs space. Right now, we're focused on health sciences. We're focused on some student affairs office moves, but you know, anytime a new situation occurs, we're willing to take a look.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Great. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, committee reports, individual legislators' reports. Do you have any? Mr. Foley?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just giving a report on a meeting I had earlier in the month with constituents in my district. One was with Mr. Tim Donovan. He was concerned about a central stop that was on Wright Ave, and wanted to see an additional stop on Wright Ave to help out people that are heading to the rescue mission. If you're not familiar, there's a North Star building on Wright Ave. It houses rescue mission, Unity House administrative buildings, and a few other companies there. So he actually organized a meeting with those representatives, along with Cynthia Aikman, who is the representative for the ownership there, along with a central executive, and to look and see if we could add an additional stop there for underprivileged people that need to get to those buildings to use the services, but they don't have the stop for the bus route there. After the meeting with the central personnel, I believe, I'm hopeful actually that an additional stop will be added there. The talks were quite productive, and I look forward to seeing something added there to help out people.
Thank you. Mr. Lattimore?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to the energy, I'd like to thank the governor for getting involved with the saving the nuclear plants in the north. Mr. Barkley was at a function, and I'd like to thank him and Mayor Oswego for getting involved in those subjects. Cost of energy is too high in the state of New York, and hopefully this move won't create it higher, but could be. And I'd like to also back the natural gas pipeline that's been rejected, but that's another issue.
Thank you. Any other reports? Madam Administrator.
I submitted my report. It is in a box. I really don't have much to add to it, only that I continue to meet with department heads over annual reviews and budget issues. We are working on that. I did want to remind you, although it's in the report, that I will be out a week from August 24th through the 31st, but I will be back in town after that point. So depending on what my workload is, I may or may not be in on that Thursday and Friday, so just wanted to say that. Does
Thank you.
anybody have any questions?
Okay, thank you. Okay, now my report. I attended the Taste for Community, as did a number of you, the fundraiser for Community Action Agency, as well as we had the opportunity to attend the Big Six. A number of us were there. We gave a proclamation recognition to Tim Quill, as well as some ribbons, and some of us received ribbons. So it was a nice event. I know all of you didn't get ribbons, and I apologize that that some of us were singled out. That's an inside joke. So I met with Senator DeFrancisco fundamentally to introduce myself formally as chair and to begin a dialogue with him. And it was a very fruitful meeting, and we hope that will continue and result in good benefits for the county. Had a meeting that was attended by Mr. Dennison and representatives of Soil and Water and some other people to talk about the soil and water funding. We came up with some ideas how to support soil and water. I think those will be coming forward in the form of resolutions in the very near future. Our budget meetings that we held last week, I guess. It seems long ago, but it was this last week. We're in the process of putting those together and identifying exactly how we're going to move forward, and everyone will be getting something on that with the things that you signed up for within the this week, so within the next few days, so that we can actually get to work on those. And finally, I think several of us attended the Social Services Open House. Thank you for that, Ray. It was actually very good. It was a great idea, and I know I learned a number of things, and I'm sure other people who attended learned something. And most important, I think, is it reaffirmed how hard our people work and how committed they are to what they do. And it was very, very, very good, good program, good time, and I think we should try to do some more of that. Anyone that wasn't able to attend, maybe we can set something up later, maybe a little less formal, but nonetheless, it was very, very informative, and thank you. Thank you for doing that. So I think that's my report. Does anyone have any questions of me? Mr. Lattimore.
Mr. Chairman, I see on tonight's agenda we have Seth Jensen, who's with the city, appointment to Cayuga County Water Quality Management. I know that Mr. Del Stritto brought up water quality. I know that Ithaca is having a problem with some drought. I mean, this is the worst drought since '99. I'd like to see some kind of coordination as to what, if for some reason Wasco Lake didn't have the water quality that our residents needed, what other backup do we have? Could you have Doug Selby maybe come? And the cost of water, the delivery of water is also an issue to the surrounding towns. I'd like to see what the master plan is for that. I don't know whether that's somewhere in our records or somewhere in our planning, but I'd like to have some discussion on it. I know that Ithaca's having a problem with all their students are coming back. It's another 40,000 people that'll be using the water, and it could be a problem with some of the places that they go to for water.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I think it might be a little premature. As you may remember, we've allocated a $100,000 match to support a countywide planning grant for the Water and Sewer Authority, and that has been submitted to the Regional Council, and a decision on that is expected probably the end of September, I think, is the timeline. Now, if that is awarded, then we'll move forward with the plan. If it's not awarded, then I totally agree with you. We'll have to meet with Mr. Selby or the Water and Sewer Authority or combination to really find out how we are gonna move forward. So keep that in mind. Are there any other questions of me? Okay, good, thank you. So appointments and reappointments. Mr. Lattimore mentioned one. If I could have a motion on these? Mr. Pinckney, second? Mr. Farrell. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And communications, could I have a motion to suspend the reading?
Motion.
Mr. Dennison, Mr. Pinckney? Thank you. All in favor? Our regular monthly resolutions. Mr. Farrell.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to present regularly monthly resolutions 1A and 1B. They've been through committee and been approved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I can see there's none opposed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to bundle WM1, WM2. They've been through committee, they've been approved unless somebody would like them separated.
Anyone want anything separated? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Health and Human Services.
Mr. Chairman, Health and Human Services had 9 resolutions with number 6, HH6 being pulled at committee, or tabled at committee. I'd like to offer up HH 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 as a bundle unless somebody like them separated.
Does anyone object to bundling 1 through 5 and 7 through 9? In that case, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Foley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Government Operations has 3 resolutions they have passed through committee. I would like to offer up GO1 and GO2 as a bundle. GO3 was passed at Ways and Means, but it was asked to be separated, so I'll do it again tonight. So I'll offer up GO1 and GO2 for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone want those separated out? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Okay. GO3 is approving the collective bargaining agreement between Cayuga Community College Faculty Association and the Cayuga Community College for the period of September 1, 2016 through August 31st, 2020. I offer that up for tonight.
Mr. Bennett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to go on record of abstaining on this matter.
Okay, thank you. And was there a question, Mr. Jensen? Okay. So, are there any discussion, any questions on? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Foley. Planning.
Mr. Chairman, Planning has one resolution before you. It's been through both committees and seeks the approval.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works.
Mr. Chairman, Public Works has 12 resolutions to bring forward. PW6 was defeated at committee. We brought it back next month. There was one amendment and one that was added. They both went through Ways and Means. So I would offer all 12 of them, excluding PW6 as a bundle, unless somebody wants them separated.
Anyone wish these separated? In that case, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Bennett? Judicial and Public Safety.
Mr. Chairman, we have 6 resolutions. I would like to offer JP 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 as a bundle. They've all been through both committees.
Okay, is everyone okay with bundling 2 through 6? In that case, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
JP 1 is to authorize the sheriff to fill 1 vacant deputy sheriff position in the law enforcement division of the Cayuga County Sheriff's Office. It was pulled at committee so that we could have our budget meeting on Wednesday, so we had a better understanding of the picture. During that time, the sheriff had agreed to make some amendments to his budget request in 2017, so we could get this position filled and keep our citizens and our officers safe.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, in that case, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, is there any other business to come before? Mr. Lattimore?
Under public safety, the 911 center was financed partially by surcharges to landlines. I know our association is doing something in regards to, have we looked at other ways of funding 911? I mean, is there a different system than just landlines? I mean, that, most landlines are going away.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yes, yeah,
does the
and-
state come up with another formula to fund 911 centers?
There's, as you know, there's a discussion, but I don't think there's any action at this point. There's lots of discussions about various ways to do it, but do you have any other information?
I believe there's a charge on wireless phones as well. There's some issue about whether it's sufficient, but there is that additional revenue.
And I think there's also talk about the changing the formula and how the state shares that with us. But
Right.
as far as I know, those are the only things that, those are kind of in process, but no new creative thinking. Any other business? Mr. Tucker?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Mr. Jones? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Reginald, second.
Joe?
Joe Bennett.